what's going on, everyone? I'm Tarrin Morgan, aka your favorite fly ball head professor, the CEO of Real Digitized, but more widely known as the founder and head coach of the Morgan State University Esports program. Under my leadership, we found the program in 2020 as a solution to engage students at a distance due to the pandemic. But today, we now have over 240 students, won 13 championships, and brought in over $500,000 in winning scholarships and donations as an unfunded, unsponsored program. On the academic side of things at Morgan State University, I started to spearhead the development of the new esports video game development and entertainment technologies major in the School of Global Journalism and Communications. I saw the success and the impact I was able to have with the students and truly changed lives because we had students winning like $45,000 playing Mortal Kombat. So for me, I saw that this is a resource that we need to know about more widely. So that's when I really started to put more focus and energy into my company, Real Digitized. So this is actually a rebrand of a company I had called Real Talk Session Series. And with Real Digitized, what we do is we use video games to create unique pathways into STEM fields for students. We keep video games at the center, but we show them the different careers that are involved with as well. So we teach the other digital skills that need to thrive. So such as like video production, photography, music production, AI, all these things are kind of offshoots of gaming because they're all within it. So, for me, it's really just exposing people to the opportunities within video games. Because I still remember my grandmother saying, "Take that thing off my TV." But now I'm out here changing lives. So, it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah, let's start there. Your upbringing in video games and sort of what led you down this path to begin with.
I never knew this was a thing. Like, I'm a lifelong gamer. So, Zelda was my joint back in the day. Final Fantasy when we got into high school, Madden. So me and my boys, we just come back to somebody's house with like 10 of the fatback TVs and throwing tournaments together. But by the way, 2004 Madden with the Mike Vick cover, undefeated champion there. So if you want to run it back, we can get it there. We didn't know that this was the thing that people were doing. And we was doing this back in 2004, 2005. So fast forward to when the pandemic hit. So I started learning about esports from one of my frat brothers. Shout out to Malcolm Coley from Futures First Gaming. And I saw what he was doing. I'm like, and we had some conversations. And under my old company, Real Talk Session Series, I produced educational content, which was meant to uplift the Black communities across the country. And video games was one of the things that he was talking about. So I'm like, this is everything I was doing when I was a kid. This is something you could do as an adult. And that really started my brain starting to turn because that was a time too where I saw these traditional jobs, 9 to 5s. We were sold a dream, especially my generation. They said you go to college and that's how you're gonna be successful.
Yeah.
Nah, not at all. I had got like 2 master's degrees in 2018, and I wasn't making past $50,000. I applied to over 200 jobs. I couldn't find a job. They got me messed up out here. So when I started seeing the power of actually being authentically myself and then going back to things that I enjoy, such as video games, that's really when I started to see the growth. So that was like the seed that was planted in me when I was a kid, and I knew I wanted to do something with them. I never knew what I could do, but this whole journey, and that's how God works. And I always look at my journey into esports industry and then getting deeper into the video game stuff as like part of my spiritual journey, really, because it didn't come to me until, the entrepreneurship stuff didn't come to me until I was in my darkest moment. So like in 2017, 2018, like around that time when I got that second master's degree, because I'm like, y'all told me we supposed to go to school and we get these jobs. And then, I went through a down a dark path because of all that stuff. So like depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. And then, when you're going through your stuff, that's when God answers and they come pick you up and they say, nah, like you must have been my whole plan. And that's really what happened. So, that's really where it sparked from. It was, seeing what was there, being truly and authentic in myself and just running with it and just not caring what people think.
How do you even create this program? Because it wasn't a lot of these programs. Like, it wasn't like it was a blueprint. A lot of ways that you could have went about it, especially with little funding or not knowing the ins and outs. So how did you even kind of square that circle?
I'm a lifelong educator. I've been pouring into the youth forever. So even like as a teenager, I was working as a camp counselor and all that stuff. So I understand the culture that the youth has a culture. And then within my second master's degree, I learned 2 valuable things. The rest of it was trash. I would say that much. Out of my master's degree experience, one thing was culture trumps strategy. So necessarily, you can have a strategy all you want, but if culture isn't dictating and showing your strategy is not going to work, then nah, it's not the thing. And I always revert back to the Mike Tyson quote: "Everybody got a plan until they get punched in their face." If you can't adjust, pivot, and adjust according to what's going on, you're not going to be successful. So that was one part of it. And then the second part was strategic partnerships. So I always go back to the whole Mariah Carey thing too. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. With that, I took my resources and then I tapped into other people who I saw that there was mutual beneficial benefits to being partners. And the first people I reached out to was Community Down in Atlanta nonprofit. Shout out to y'all. I saw that they were launching around the same time that I got to Morgan, and that was before the pandemic hit. So I already reached out to them before the pandemic hit. So like, that was early. And then when they actually launched, then we was right there in line. So for me, it was really just self-education, having the audacity to execute on my dreams and thoughts. And that's where we got it here. And then also I'll be remiss definitely if I didn't shout out Dr. Douglas Gwynn from the Office of Residence Life and Housing at Morgan State University, because he's my director and I created this under this department as well. So my position was, it still is, in charge of marketing and digital engagement. So that was a part of my job. So he was able to fund the program to get some jerseys and other startup things that the students needed really. But after that, it was more so just me using my resources, reaching out to people, because you got to shoot your shot. Just like with relationships, same thing with business. You got to shoot your shot. Some shots going to go in, but some shots not going to go in. But the most important thing is that you actually did it. That's more progress than anybody that's not, than anyone else that's sitting on their behind just talking trash,
So Morgan State, were you already going to go to Morgan State? Did you already have that relationship? Like, how did that build into you being able to have the confidence to shoot that shot? You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming it had to be steps taken to be able to say, hey, this is something that will benefit all of the students, and this will obviously, you're going to look at the bottom dollar. So will this be able to generate the money that you want? Talk to me about those conversations, those steps to be able to kind of get there.
It's really about not burning bridges, keeping in touch with your people who actually looked out for you. So I worked back at Morgan State University from 2010 to 13 doing something totally unrelated. I was the resident director of an all-male residence hall. And another thing I was bringing to the table was video production. So I've been doing video production since '05. I worked for Hot 97. So I've shot Jay-Z concerts, Drake when he first met, like all that stuff. Like, we talking about like best I ever had, like early stuff like that. So that's why I was at. So I had that background and I was doing video work for Morgan too, just as an addition, because I always feel that you should be adding value and reducing stress. And that's exactly what I did. So I already proved my point there. And I really started the movement for people using video to engage students at Morgan State University. And I continue to create waves, but that was part of it. So me just staying close with the director and just the way life works. Like, I randomly got hired at Morgan. I didn't know what an HBCU was, and so I went to a conference, and that was like in 2009. So my life is really like, I would say, this coincidence, right? So then I left Morgan 2013, went to a school up in North Jersey, which will remain unnamed. They get no shine from me. But I learned different skill sets, so I learned like operations, how to run like multi-million-dollar budgets and whatnot. So that was a big thing there. And then for me, I started having a mental health issue. So I took disability, and that actually ended up me getting terminated due to my doctor not sending in paperwork. So it was just really hustle mode that turned on, because like going back to what I said before, it was one of those things of like doing all this work and not seeing the success of things. But when I actually started doing my own thing, that's when I started seeing things. So really my venture into this whole space, it's all about entrepreneurship. So if you're looking to start an esports program, you should have the spirit of entrepreneurship, right? So my first thing I did was I was working at a predominantly white school up in Jersey, and we needed a safe space for Black and brown staff, students, faculty to come together. Because that's the time when you had a lot of the different killings. Freddie Gray, Baltimore. Like, I had just left Baltimore. A couple years later, Freddie Gray died. These are the same streets I was right around in. Everybody over there, happy-eyed, cheery, all that stuff. White people with the black kids, they didn't know what's going on. So that's when they really taught me to, I'm like, yo, I got to create change, whatever. So I started the Real Talk session series, and that's when I started having conversations. So my first interview, I was shaking like crazy. You can see the paper visibly shaking because I never was in front of the camera. I was behind the camera. So I interviewed Dr. Wendy Osefo from Housewives of Potomac. She wasn't there at that time, but that was, I saw like, okay, this is a spark of me doing my own thing. And then I was looking for jobs when I got terminated, and I was volunteering doing like marketing, all that stuff, and I was having no success at all. So I hit up Dr. Gwen. I can't find that at all. It's hard out here, and that's why I came back to Morgan. And for me, he already knew what I did with the video stuff and already built that trust. So it's one of those things of, I tell professionals, your data, keep your data, and that's how you're able to build your leverage to say, this is my value. So I was able to see like, okay, you know, I got some ideas on really how I can make it pop. I already knew that students were in the digital realm. So my educational philosophy is meeting students where they are, and that's the digital space. So I was already there with social media. And then when everything hit with the pandemic, they were scrambling for a way to engage people. So he just threw me the ball. He was like, yo, go ahead, do what you got to do. And we got into the first tournament. We won it all. It was expected to happen. And then 4 months later, we had a $200,000 donation from Verizon. And that was a big part because of branding of the program. So we was also noted for our social media presence, and then using that data and just really just strategic partnership. So that's really what it was. Just he gave me the ball, and I had to prove what I had to prove, you know. And that's one thing I always tell people: don't just talk a good game; you got to walk a good game too.
Talk a little bit about the tournaments and stuff, things that y'all play, the competition, the general feel of esports where you occupy.
Yeah, so within the East VCU space is very new. But when you look at these PWIs, they've been having like true blown programs since like 2015, 2016 with school funding. So we're still at the very early ages. And I always compare esports to the adoption of collegiate basketball back in like, I think it was like 50s, 60s. It wasn't taken seriously at all. Now you got March Madness, you got the women's
Right.
college games being the best attended sports in general now. So right now, there's not that many competition space really because you know you don't have that many HBCUs that have the technical equipment that's needed. So you have computer, which are the standard when it comes to competitive esports, but then you have consoles. You know that's a lower price of entry for most people. So right now, you see a lot of schools using consoles, and right now, honestly, the only true I would say league that's doing stuff for the students, that's right for HBCUs, is community. So they throw together a lot of online competitions. They do some in-person stuff as well. But my mission with my company is to add to that as well. So I'm working on building the ecosystem of esports up in Maryland. And with us, we've been doing competitions, so like Tekken 8 competitions, Super Smash Bros. Those are small scale stuff because right now we're doing, again, the baseline data that's needed, working out of systems to make something bigger. My goal is to make this into something that's going to be huge and massive. We're talking about like 500 spectator type events, the lights, the smoke, all that stuff. So, and I'm already on that path to do that. So for me right now, just looking at it is very limited for the students, but looking at the next 5 years, I believe that's going to be much more opportunity for students. We already got one of the highest collegiate prize pools of $500,000 out of all colleges for HBCUs, and that's through community. So shout out to them as well. But you know, it's more so about multiple options. We need multiple options to be able to assist the students and whatnot. So for me, it's really just building that ecosystem, additional opportunities for people, and you know, just creating different pathways for them to not only gain but to get into careers that will change the trajectory. Because we already see what inflation is looking like, the cost of living, all that stuff. It's not enough just to have a 9 to 5. We need to really embrace a formal education, also our natural God-given gifts, and have the understanding of who we are in order to really make a change in the space. So that's what we're doing right now.
Real Digitized, what is the next step as far as what you kind of want to see, what you kind of want to put out there? Like, what's next for you?
It's been a fun ride, actually. Like, it's very random. We actually just got hired to build esports new competition and innovation space. And with that, it's going to have top of the line computers, all that stuff, like the double wide, double stack monitors.
Nice.
We're teaching AI, metaverse, all that stuff. At least that's my plan. I'm not sure what the university is going to do, but we're getting into spaces of building labs. For my company, definitely getting more into the community, providing different opportunities, because I'm a big believer that you don't need a college education to succeed. Even though I work in the higher education, I got 2 master's degrees, but it's really about your hustle, your self education. Because I look at how Frederick Douglass, he got free because of self education, and he became a millionaire and owned real estate. So just teaching our people that you can do more than what we've been taught, because we've been conditioned and programmed. America has done a great job at that, but we really got to unlearn a lot of stuff and really come together as a community, a village, to push each other and bring our resources to go forward. So for me, I'm about really exposing people to opportunities, helping them understand who they are through personal development, and then also teaching them the digital skills that are needed to thrive in the future and currently as well. So that's really what we're doing over here at Real Digitized. And we paying people at the same time, not just saying we got volunteer opportunities. Because a lot of people have volunteer opportunities, mentorship opportunities, but they're not giving people money. So that's what we're doing over here. Yeah.
People want that money.
Exactly.
Say they want to be a part of esports. So they want to be a part of what you're doing. What do they have to do? Do they have to have certain criteria? Do they have to have certain skills? Like, what is the steps to be able to get there?
I would say the biggest things to develop: understand emotional intelligence, understand who you are, how you work in a team, how you show up, if you can read the room. Start building portfolio now. It don't matter who you are. Like, if you got something interesting, if you're playing games, record yourself in those hot clips, whatever. If you're streaming, get your clips that's funny as hell. If you're making graphics, videos, build your portfolio. You have to have something that shows your value that you're bringing to the team. I do a lot of development of students, and I have no issues with it. But if you have no drive, no passion, you're not dedicated, you don't have discipline and able to work independently, then that's something that I don't look for with people. You have to be able to really hold your weight, because a lot of people talk in America, and not a lot of people actually take the steps to execute. So I always say that just get the ball running with whatever resources you have. Your phone is enough if you want to be a content creator. You have all these different free video apps. You can make your music on there as well. So you have everything you need. And with AI nowadays, you can develop $1 million plan. All you have to do is execute it. A lot of us analyzation, paralyzation. So pretty much we want to learn a lot of stuff, keep learning to be prepared, but we don't actually apply the stuff through action. And the best way you're going to truly learn is through action and trial and failure. And those losses, they're not really losses, they're lessons. You got to take that reason why you failed in that moment, apply it, tweak it, whatever, and then try again. And eventually you're going to hit it right. It's just chipping away at your dreams. 1% improvement each day. That's all you need.
What games do y'all play?
So it really varies. It depends on what it is, right? So if you're doing league play, it's whatever the leagues are offering. So a lot of the leagues are like Rocket League, FC, so the college football joint. You have NBA 2K, Madden, all that, Valorant, Overwatch, Super Smash Bros. So those are some of the titles that are normally played with things. For us at Real Digitized, we're moving more towards like the fighting community, because there's a lot of people there. And just thinking about where I come from, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, that was big, as kids.
Right.
And you're going to have that nostalgia factor with the older folks, and you got the new people as well you can introduce it to. So that's where I see myself at more. I want to get more into racing stuff as well, because there's a whole different world right there. And a lot of people are not in the racing space. And there's a big push with that currently. When you look at Gran Turismo, my man was training on a virtual sim racer, and they came on the track was beating people. So using gaming to transfer those skills into real life things as well.
Last thing, if you got anything to plug, anything you want to shout out, it's on you.
I'd appreciate it. So y'all can go ahead and check me out on all social media platforms. Tarrin Morgan, Tarrin Morgan, all one word. And then we have a few events coming up for Real Digitized as well. You can follow us, Real Digitized, all one word. It's on my shirt too. Creators boot camps coming up in the springtime in early 2025. So for us, we've been really putting out action this past year, and we're really ready to step it up. So follow us on Real Digitized. You see a lot of stuff there, and we maybe come to a city near you sometime.